Hi guys, this is me reporting from the People's Friendship University of Russia. This is where we are starting our excursion today. We're going to go to different locations to see ecological places. Places with lots of ecological histories and lots of cultural and Russian traditional heritages. I hope you stay with me, enjoy my video, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel, my YouTube channel. Enjoy us video. Now we have just boarded the bus. We're going there now. We just arrived at Moscow State University.
This is one of the 7 buildings which appeared which were built from 1957 to 1957. The original track
Just
in 1957 Moscow celebrated
it's very beautiful and typical Stalin building. Typical Stalin.
And now they're going to just to make a circle around the university here, which is in front of us, and to let you see this magnificent university.
Moscow State University, the oldest university in Russian Federation.
Moscow University numbers
More than 200 meters.
35,000 students.
The English University boasts about 30,000 students, 30 departments. The main building over there hosts the geological building, hosts the ecological building, physics, chemistry. This university is named after Lomonosov, the Russian renowned scientist.
Just accept the results of the General State Examination, GSE, which students' building is decorated by the statues.
This building is
In front of the
262 meters high. There are hostels. There's a fountain which is usually active during the summer. There are statues of Mikhail Lomonosov and Mendeleev in this university. This is now the university campus. University campus with woods and walkway. Now we are heading towards the Sparrow Hills of Moscow, and from here we can see the Seven Sisters, the high-risers in Moscow, the Vorovyevo Hill, then the Moscow city over there. This is the Moscow city over there. This is a very clear picture. The skyline of Moscow. You see how beautiful they are. This is very typical. This is the Luzhniki Stadium. This place is known as Sparrow Hill.
Sparrow Hills, it goes down to the river. The river is on our right, so if you go from here down to the river, it will take you about 40 minutes.
See, if you want to get better picture, go from. You see this guy there? Yeah,
And on the left-hand side, there appears a Sparrow
This
Hills residents.
Sparrow Hills residence in Moscow. Sparrow Hills residential area. I think one needs a special permit for you to live in this particular region.
You need the special invitation to
Special
visit all
invitation.
these objects. And now we are going down the hill. You see that Moscow is very huge. It has a very large territory, so that's why we need a bus to see all the major sites of the capital. So in front of us there is another district, a very large district. It appeared back to 1980s, but now it is just being rebuilt. So there is a lot of which is in front of us. So people who have international trade study here.
Changing direction. Wow.
So this is Mosfilm Street. On the right hand side you can see people's houses, just residences. And on the left there you will be able to see the territory of Moscow Film Studio. Behind there will be a gigantic skyscraper. It has recently been built and they needed a special permission to build a house here. So it has 34 floors and it is one of the most expensive residential houses in this street. It appears now on the right. Sometimes we call it a giraffe. So you can see the pavilions of Moscow Film Studio here, and very soon there will be New Year performances for the children. So children are going to come here and have their New Year parties. It's like a tradition. You see already there are many people just to come. On the right hand side there appears the so-called ambassadorial town, Посольский городок. Back to 1980s, the government of Moscow provided the land for foreign embassies. And here moved the embassy of Germany, Bulgaria, so Sweden. So there are several buildings. So you can see that they were given modern buildings, and they still have their embassies here in the Sparrow Hills in Mosfilm Street. Generally, the tradition is that the foreign embassies have their embassies in the city center, but this is going to see the residential complex Sparrow Hills.
We are now going towards the residential complex of the Sparrow Hills of Moscow. I think this is where the embassy of the German embassy, the Swedish embassy, Austrian, Bulgarian embassy is located. This Sparrow here.
Ladies and gentlemen, here you can see how different and varied Moscow architecture is. And you have on the right hand side you can see this residential complex of the Sparrow Hills. The tallest skyscraper is in front of us on the right, and it has 32 floors. On the top there is also a helicopter place. So in 1990s this was the most fashionable apartment complex in Moscow. And also on the left, please pay attention, there are 12 towers that have recently been built, and this is called the Valley of the Seton River. River, it is one of the numerous Moscow rivers which flows in this district. It's a very beautiful park here, and recently they have finished the construction here, and so this is a very wanted real estate here. And also behind there will be another residential complex which is called Zlatые Ключи, which means golden keys. So on the right there remains Sparrow Hills, and Golden Keys is the red brick building with the green roof. It will appear on your left. This is absolutely different type of architecture. Well, the beginning of the 20th century, but it was very prestigious to have an apartment here. For example, our Prime Minister, Mr. Dmitry Medvedev, has an apartment here.
This is where Medvedev,
And right
Dmitry
now,
Medvedev lives.
Left is Sparrow Hills,
Very
and
beautiful.
on our right hand side, so first there is a park, a forest, and then we're going to cross the Seton River. There will be a little bridge, and under there will be the Seton River, and very soon we'll be coming to one of the largest and most beautiful parks of our capital. It has the name of the Victory Park, Park Победы. That park appeared as a commemoration of the victory in the Second World War. You know that in the 20th century, one of the most tragic ages of our history, it was the Second World War, or the Great Patriotic War, as we call it in Russia. So the war lasted from 1941 to 1945, and about 22 million people were killed in that war. It was a great disaster for the country. So in order to commemorate the people, the victims of the Second World War, in the 1980s, the Moscow government organized. On the hand side you can see a Muslim mosque,
This is the mosque.
which is dedicated
in
to the
Moscow.
memory of the Muslims who died in the Second World War
But this
protecting
mosque was dedicated to the Muslims who died in the World War.
The territory of the Victory Park is on our right. It's a very large territory of about 20
Park Pobeda.
and,
Very large territory.
The territory of the park,
Victory Park.
they were
20
planted
hectares of land.
22 million trees.
22
and
million
every
trees
tree
were planted here,
symbolizes a life.
and every tree
This
in
is a
this park
very
symbolizes
big
a
and
life
beautiful
of
and one of the most favorite Moscow parks.
Soviets who lost their lives. 22
On the
million
right-hand
trees
side, there
were
will be a
planted.
monument to the 3 generations of the Russian soldiers.
This is
So you
a
can
monument
see
of the 3
The warrior
generations
of the
of the
medieval times, the warrior of the Bolshevik
Russian
times, and the warrior
like
of the
Federation.
Second World War.
medieval times, William times, and warrior of Second World War.
Ladies and gentlemen, the territory of the Victory Park is on our right. People come here on the day of the
This is
victory, which
Victory
we
Park.
celebrate on the 9th of May. It's a big and important holiday for our country because every family has lost a father, a son,
22 million
a brother,
trees were planted
or a
here
husband. The war
during the
entered
World
into
War,
each of the
Second
families.
World War.
You can see the Museum of the Second World War. It is probably the best museum in the world which is dedicated to the history of the Second World War.
The Museum of the
And in
Second
front
World
of it,
War.
there is the Victory Square, Площадь Победы. This is the square where we come to watch the fireworks on the 9th of May. In the middle of the square, there is a monument, stela, an obelisk, which has the height of 91 meters. So it symbolizes the days of the war. And there is also the Greek goddess of victory, Nike, holding the wreath and the angels trumpeting the victory. The territory of the park is so large also because the architect, whose name was RUDN, wanted the people to experience the difficulties of the war. That is why you have to walk for almost 1 kilometer from the nearby metro station to the museum. This was the idea of an architect, that people should walk and experience all the difficulties, all the long years that brought us to victory. On the right hand side you can also see the red Russian banner, the three-colored Russian banner, and also there is the flower clock with an inscription Moskva. Moscow is already getting ready for the New Year celebration, so Christmas trees are being put. And right now we are moving on Kutuzovsky Avenue. This is also one of the largest and the longest avenue. And in the middle of this avenue, you can see the Triumphal Arch. This Triumphal Arch is the Russian answer to the Paris Triumphal Arch. Napoleon ordered to put the Triumphal Arch in Paris, and this is the symbol of the Russian victory over Napoleon. It appeared here in 1831. The architect was Boleh. Kutuzov Avenue, it is the avenue which connects the western part of the city to the center. On the left-hand side, you can see an unusual blue building in the shape of a tambourine. This is a museum of the Russian battle with the French soldiers, the Battle of Borodino. There, on the left. There, on the left. It is the museum of Borodino. And Kutuzov Avenue connects the western part of the city to the center. It is one of the largest, longest, and most beautiful avenues of our capital. On the left, on the right-hand side, there are buildings of the 20th century antique. The famous Russian skyscrapers, which appeared back to 1990s. The first skyscraper was built in the year 2000. So it has become very, very prestigious. And we have the district which is called the city of Moscow. So you see, ladies and gentlemen, in front of us there is Kutuzov Avenue. On the left there is this city with beautiful and unusual skyscrapers. And we're going to take the third transport train, which is going to take us to another beautiful site, which is called the 1980s and 90s. This was the ring which was necessary to be built due to the growing number of transport. Back to 1950s and 60s, there were very little cars in the city, and by 1990s there appeared about 2 million cars. But that was already too much for Moscow. So that is why the city government took the decision to build the third transport ring, which goes around the city center. And that has partly solved the situation with the traffic. We still have a lot of cars. And then the government decided to continue developing the system of metro and the railway transport. Yes, right now we are coming to the district of Moscow, which is called Luzhniki. You probably know the name from their World Cup.
Yes.
World Cup. Luzhniki is the name of the sports center. It was held in their Olympic Games, and the inauguration and the final ceremony took place here in Luzhniki Sports Complex. And also in 2012, Moscow welcomed the World Cup, the Football World Cup.
Champions League.
On the right-hand side, there is going to appear
2008 was in Moscow. Man U won. Yeah.
on the right.
When won Chelsea.
Yeah.
And
Luzhniki.
Luzhniki Sports Complex is across the river on the the right-hand side, a gigantic sports complex.
This is
The main arena of Luzhniki Sports Complex may house 88,000 spectators.
8,000 spectators.
This is not the center yet, ladies and gentlemen. We are in the district which is called Luzhniki, and very soon we'll be coming in front of one of the beautiful Moscow monasteries. The name of the monastery is Novodevichy Convent. It dates back to 1524. It is one of the oldest and
It's the Moscow River over there.
monasteries. So we're going to make a stop here on the embankment. We're going to leave the bus. Towers.
I come there often.
It is standing on the bank of a beautiful lake. The walls and the towers belong to the middle of the 17th century.
We're leaving the bus and we're gonna walk to the monastery. Go with me. Now we are out of the bus. Say hey. Hi.
Yeah.
Robert.
Hi.
Mr. Tayo. Say hi.
Hi.
Okay. Who else do I know? Sorry. Now we're walking towards the famous monastery. Russian monastery.
So where are we now?
Luzhniki environment.
Can I tell somebody to come join us here?
You can. That's if the person will be very fast. The person has to stop at Vorabyevogory. Sportivnaya. Yes. Sportivnaya. Then send the person coordinates. Yes, I think it will be easier.
No. Why would they put MDU in there? I don't find.
That university is for, I think, most of these politicians and
What's that?
This is
MDU.
university.
No, they cannot put it now.
It's very
But
prestigious.
you
They
know they
have
have scholarship, but they take scholarships.
most of their
Not that their
scholarship
scholarship is by their school.
and also mostly Russians.
And the criteria is very high.
Mostly Russians.
Say is the best of the best for you to get there.
In the world, MGU is ranked first 100.
First 100, I think
Yeah.
first 50, man.
No, they were first 50 before, but let me continue my filming. Now we are at the arena of the monastery, famous Luzhniki monastery. Guys, hope you're enjoying my video, and I hope you're enjoying the tour of Moscow. Let's keep going. Let's keep going. This is a lake just before the monastery. We have a lake, frozen lake. Yeah, it's been frozen. Yeah, it's frozen. Yeah.
That's for
Yeah, lots of snow.
Ice
Snowing.
is not so wide, so
Yeah.
you can't, not so strong, right? So you can't go skiing or skating yet.
Yeah.
Very
I
soon
think
it will
midwinter.
Midwinter, yes. just
Yeah,
about.
probably.
So, ladies and gentlemen, this is a very ancient monastery. It dates back to 1524. So next year it is going to celebrate 500 years.
Ooh,
That is why, yes, it's
500
got restoration.
years.
They are getting ready, including the major cathedral, the one that has 5 domes.
next year.
Is dedicated to the Virgin of Smolensk. Smolensk is an ancient Russian town. Sometimes it's called the key of Russia because having captured Smolensk, you can move to Moscow.
And Smolensk was captured several times. The first it was their Polish-Lithuanian intervention. And in 1524 it was captured back by the Russians. In order to commemorate this event, our great prince Vasily III ordered to establish a church here, the Church of the Virgin of Smolensk. The walls that you see behind my back belong to the beginning of the 17th century. And the towers already were built later in the so-called Moscow Narishkin Baroque style. Narishkin, it was the family of the sister of Peter the Great, Princess Sophia. It was she who ordered to make the beautiful Naveshe, the tower. And on the territory of the monastery, they have always been living the nuns. And they're currently living 33 nuns, and before they were barely 300 nuns. Not only the nuns, but here were their famous Russian tsarinas. This was their royal place, the royal residence. The first Russian tsarina who was living here, it was Irina Godunova, the sister to Boris Godunov and the wife of the Russian Tsar Theodore, their middle son of Ivan the Terrible. After the death of her husband, she was invited to be the Russian tsarina, but she refused. And she went to this monastery to stay here. She lived here on the territory of the monastery. There are her chambers, palati. And they still keep here, you know, just like the atmosphere of the presence of the tsarina. And the second Russian tsarina was Mikhail the first wife of Peter the Great. He was married at the age of 16 by the wish of his mother. They had a son, and later he just sent his wife, Evdokia Lopukhina, to the monastery. Here she lived for 14 years. And also he sent his sister, Princess Sophia, who was imprisoned here. She was a very willful princess. She wanted to take power from her brother, and Peter, who appeared to be stronger, imprisoned her in that tower behind me, this tower where she had spent her last 7 years. So when Napoleon came on the Russian land in 1812, this monastery was turned into a hospital. And it was the hospital not for the Russian but for Napoleonic soldiers. And knowing that his people were inside, about 200 officers and soldiers, Napoleon ordered to explode it. They put the barrels with gunpowder under the towers of this monastery, and we just were supposed to lose this beauty, but for the brave Russian nuns. They poured water on the gunpowder. It got wet and never exploded.
Wow.
Can you imagine? So thanks to them, we have this beauty. After the revolution, the monastery was turned into, there was a museum of antiques here. Then there was the territory of there where people wanted to jump from the tower. His name was Vladimir Tatlin. But luckily he just jumped from the third tier yards and only broke his arm. So it was in a very bad condition in the Soviet times, I remember. And the monastery was given back to the church only in 1992. So the nuns came back and they made the restoration. There was a wonderful restoration. So now they use this monastery for the needs of the church. The main cathedral is the one that has 5 domes. It is the summer cathedral, which is used from May to September. And then the winter one is this one, which has 1 dome. It's the winter church, where they pray every day. They have a very early day, so they start from 5 a.m. They have the first service at 5, then at 7, then at 9, then at noon. And they have their workers in the monastery, do all the duties, they bake bread.
Wait, is it?
Now we are heading towards the other part of the monastery. I hope you guys are enjoying my videos, and I hope you guys will continue to watch what I have to show you guys regarding Moscow. how big, how beautiful, how unique the architecture of this big city is. So continue to go with me. Alright. Thank you. C'était one food. Thank you.
In Boston, there is a famous monument which is called Give Way to the Ducklings. It is based on a fairy tale about Mother Duck and her little ducklings who are crossing the road, and all the cars just stop and just cannot go away. And so she asked a friend to make a copy of the Boston monument, especially for Moscow. And that's a copy. You can actually look this for a bit close. And it became a tradition that in Moscow, when people get married, they come here and put the bride on the duck and all the guests behind. So I said that last week, it's like a girl or a boy. When you're waiting for a child, you have to guess who is it. So you see that they were playing girl or a boy, we don't know. So maybe the father was taken here with all the guests. And so it's just like, which is one of the symbols of the city, is one of the traditions. Yeah, sure. And you see the view of the monastery. You see
It's a view of
so
the monastery.
beautiful, especially in winter. We have this monastery. They made some movies here.
So, ladies and gentlemen, on the right-hand side, once again, please pay attention to what was made by the order of Princess Sophia, who was imprisoned in one of the towers of this monastery. From here you can see the beautiful view of the monastery. Please pay attention to the towers, and in the center, as we're moving up the hill, you can see the beautiful cathedral of the Virgin of Smolensk. And now the Baroque style tower is watching us. This is another church of the John the Baptist. And next to it there is the bell tower. This is the second tallest bell tower in Moscow. The largest and the tallest is in the Kremlin, which is called Ivan the Great Tower. And this is the bell tower of the monastery of Novodevichy. 33 nuns are currently living in this monastery, and they have a very strict Mother Superior who just doesn't allow taking any pictures of the nuns, and they keep praying and working in the monastery, so the monastery tradition is very strict. This neighborhood of the Novodevichy convent is very nice, it's very prestigious to have an apartment here. So they have large apartments, and it is also not so far from the city center. And we are going to drive by the monastery in order to let you see the beautiful towers and their architecture of this monastery. So please pay attention to the right. Right now we're going to drive by the walls and the towers. This is the way Moscow Kremlin also looked like in the 17th century. The bell tower appears on our right. So the height of this bell tower is 95 meters. Behind you can see the territory of the famous Novodevichy cemetery. The cemetery was organized after the invasion of Napoleon in order to bury the heroes of the war with Napoleon. And later it became the place of the burial of the government leaders, including in the Soviet times. Here buried famous people, the writers, actors, musicians, artists. So on the territory of this, the first wife of Joseph Stalin, Nadezhda Lyubimova, is buried here. Nikita Khrushchev is buried here. Michael Gorbachev and his family, and also Boris Yeltsin. This is like the official VIP cemetery of our country, and only those people who have made something important for the state may be buried here. You need to be an actor or a musician or an artist to get a special permission for the burial here. It's a historical Novodevichy cemetery where you can take a historical tour. ring.
It's a
This is a
cloud
ring
line.
which holds the transport, so it transports their train, and now it is the light metro which goes around the city center. It's very convenient. It is also part of our metro system, so it's very convenient to get from one district of Moscow to another using the train. And the historical bridge appears on our right. This is the bridge which belongs to the 19th century. Please pay attention to the decoration of the sides with the balls, and it crosses the Moscow River. Moscow River appears on our right, and also can see on the left. So this is the river which gave the name to the city. And this bridge takes us across the river into the district of Kutuzovsky. Kutuzov Avenue, this is the avenue which appeared back to 1950s, 60s. It was laid as the central route from Europe to the Moscow Kremlin. This was the route by which Napoleon invaded the state, invaded Russia. This was the route by which the French soldiers marched from Borodino to the Kremlin, and this was also the route by which the Soviet soldiers, returned from Europe in 1945. So the Soviet soldiers, it was already in the Soviet times. On the right-hand side, there will be a little district of the typical houses of 1950s and 60s. It's very prestigious to have an apartment in this district. And then after that, we are going to get back to Kutuzovsky Prospect, to Kutuzov Avenue. This is one of the railroads which connects Moscow to Ukraine. It connects Moscow to the Ukrainian capital of Kiev. And there are also suburban trains that are traveling in the direction of the southwest. So here is our famous Kutuzovsky Avenue. Most of the houses here were built back to 1950s and 60s on Soviet classicism. Most of the houses here were built for the party leaders. And on the left-hand side, you can see the beautiful vista of the city. There, the red one is the Mercury Tower. The green one, it is called the Federation Tower. Then there is the part of the, just called, there are two skyscrapers called the part of the capital. And so altogether there are 12 skyscrapers. Ladies and gentlemen, Kutuzov Avenue is one of the most beautiful and elegant avenues of our capital. You can see the houses that belong to the Soviet epoch, which look like palaces. But instead there were regular people living here, and also a monument to the Russian military leader Bagration can be seen on the left-hand side, and behind there is the first tower of the city, called the Millennium Tower. Soldiers who protected Moscow against the Nazi invasion. Remember, Seven Sisters appeared between 1947 and 1957, and this was the last one of the sisters, which was finished in 1957. This is the famous Hotel Ukraine. Your left.
This is Hotel Ukraine.
So this is like the towers, and
the central tower, which is the hotel, and these are residential apartment houses. And Hotel Ukraine is overlooking the river, and across the river you can see the White House of Russian Federation. It is the house of the government of Russian Federation. There is Mr. Dmitry Medvedev working. He is the head of the government, and together with him there are working about 800 people. The White House of Russian Federation is across the river.
Hotel Ukraine. And this is the White House of the Russian Federation over there. White House of the Russian Federation. Dom Правительства Российской Федерации.
7 sisters can be seen from this bridge. One is behind us, it is the Hotel Ukraine. One is to the left, behind the White House. It is a residential building. And one is on the right, across the houses. On the right there can be seen the Russian Ministry of Foreign Affairs.
This water is not freezing. That one is freezing.
No, that one is not moving now. This is flowing. But with time, it freezes as well. With time. It's very, very beautiful architecture.
On the left there is the White House of Russian Federation, the House of the Government, with the banner on the top, the three-color banner, and with the double-headed eagle. The building has the shape of an armchair, some technical trained. Now it is their seat of the Moscow government. And the dome in front of us, this is the place of the conference hall where they sometimes have receptions. So we are coming to the historical part of the city now. This is the main part of Kuzovsky Prospect. So we have crossed the river, and now we're entering to the historical part of the city. We are coming to the area which is called Arbat. Arbat is an ancient medieval street where lived the merchants, and actually they called it Rabat, which means the neighborhood. But Russians transformed it into Arbat. It's a very beautiful pedestrian street where the merchants' mansions are located. And it's very beautiful. You can easily walk there, buy souvenirs, and just like this is an absolutely different street. It's a big avenue which was cut through this neighborhood back to 1960s. And there you will see the houses in the shape of an open. Lot Plaza appears on our right. There is a 5-star hotel, and another one is on our left. It belongs to the Marriott chain. And we're going to cross the garden ring. The garden ring of this used to be the border of Moscow of the 19th century. The garden ring, it's a circle which goes around the historical part of the city.
we are crossing the Garden Ring now. Right now, Lotte Plaza remains on our right, and we are just about to enter Nowy Arbat. It's a beautiful street which belongs to the 1960s. Most of the houses here are built in the shape of an open book. So on the right hand side these are offices, and on the left hand side these are residential buildings. On the ground floors there are cinemas, supermarkets, and enormous bookstore. So this is also one of the fashionable Moscow streets. On the ground floor of the right hand side buildings there are restaurants, amusement centers, nightclubs, etc. In the middle of this road there is also a special government lane for the government cars. On the left hand side there is the famous October cinema, dates back to 1960s, and so it is still working as a cinema. You can come here to watch some movies. On the right hand side, this is a place to go clubbing.
Właśnie. Passed here several times. Book-like houses.
Left-hand side, this is the largest bookstore in Europe. Moskovsky Dom Knigi,
Moskovsky Dom, largest bookstore in Europe.
Any language of the world.
Largest bookstore in Europe.
And a charming little church of Saint Simon appears on our left. This is the church of the 17th
Find
century.
any kind of book in this place.
Survivor of the reconstruction of the
Largest bookstore in Europe.
The Russian Count married peasant opera singer Paraskeva Novodevichovova. It was a beautiful marriage of a Russian count, an aristocrat who married a peasant. So it happened here in the middle of the 18th century. She was a beautiful soprano singer, and she gave a count a son. After that she died. On the right-hand side, we have reached Arbatsky Square. On the right-hand side, you can see Christmas preparations. And we're going to turn right. And on your left-hand side, there will appear the oldest Moscow cinema. It is called Khudojestvenny, the artistic theater. So now I see that they have Roman Polanski film called Dvorets, the palace. And Arbat Street is on the right, where you see the red double-decker bus. So behind it there is a pedestrian street called Arbat. If you have a chance to walk it, go there. It's very beautiful. Just they sell souvenirs and you can enjoy one of the bars.
On the left-hand side, this is their one of the most beautiful metro stations of Moscow. It is called Arbatskaya, a charming red color metro station, which has the shape of a star. Russian Pentagon, Russian Defense Ministry is on the left. It's a gigantic building with an underground.
Russian Pentagon. This is the Russian Pentagon. Gigantic building with ground bomb shelters. Just like the US Pentagon of Russia, Russian Federation.
Больше 30 лет катаю. Первый раз слышу.
Потому что недавно обнаружили, когда отрекся, даже на видео разыгрался, что я больше не знаю, майоры сами решили, что он будет делать.
А он в Александровском году приехал?
Да, еще до этого уже здесь. Потом уехал в Александровском году. Alright, so we are driving down the hill, ladies and gentlemen, and in front of us there appears the Kremlin. The famous medieval fortress built by the Italian architects at the end of the 15th century. There appear two towers, the Water Tower and the Borovitsky Tower. The Borovitsky Tower, it is one of the four entrances to the Kremlin. The Kremlin is huge, it occupies the territory of 27 hectares. A hectare is 1,000 square meters. And on the corner there is standing a monument to the famous Russian great prince Vladimir I. It was he who brought Christianity here, so that is why he is holding a cross in his hands. The Kremlin is the heart of the capital, and we are driving along Mokhovaya Street, Moss Street. On the left-hand side you can see the palace of the Russian National Library. Cameras facing down. Which is on our left, the white building with columns and with the green roof. That is where they keep the manuscripts. And another building which belongs to the 1930s. It's on your left. Are kept. This is the largest Russian library. The second largest library in the world, after the Library of the Congress in the United States. On the steps of the Russian National Library, you can see a monument to Fyodor Dostoevsky. We have several famous writers, so Dostoevsky is one of them. Crime and Punishment, The Karamazov Brothers, The Idiot. And so these are the names of these famous books. Another writer from the mill that was Leo Tolstoy, who wrote War and Peace and The Karenina and the
Library of Congress.
And on the right hand side, this is the entrance to the Kremlin. Who was asking me, so if you want to visit the Kremlin, you buy tickets along Mokhovaya Street. On the left hand side, these are the old buildings of Moscow State University. The university was here. On the left hand side, you can see the journalistic department together with a monument to Mikhail Lomonosov, the founder of the university. And also there is a psychology department across the street. On the right hand side, there is the beautiful Manège Square. Manège, that's a French word which means a horse riding school, which used to exist here in the 19th century. And so under the square there is the famous underground shopping mall. It is called Охотный ряд. So if you want to go shopping, you just come to the metro station Театральная or Охотный
that. And then you go under the square and go shopping. It's right here. The famous National Hotel can be seen on our left-hand side. It's one of the famous Moscow historical hotels which offers the vista, the view to Red Square. And Red Square is on our right. The Russian National Parliament is on the left. It is called the State Duma. 450 will be coming to Theater Square, Театральная площадь, which is dominated by the building of the Bolshoi Theater. The Bolshoi is on our left. It dates back to 1771. It's a building with 16 columns, and on the top there is a monument to Apollo riding their 4 horses. On the right-hand side, there is the beautiful building of the Metropole Hotel. It's a masterpiece of modernism, Art Nouveau style. The date of the building is 1905. And there, on the left-hand side, you can see the largest children's shopping mall called Детский мир. And the yellow building on the top of the hill, this is the Russian Secret Services building called FSB, Federal Security Bureau. And there's the KGB.
KGB.
About 500 people are working here. And driving down the hill, very soon you will see a beautiful church of the 17th century dedicated to all saints. Ancient medieval wall of the 16th century can be seen on your right. This is the wall of Kitai-Gorod, Italian town, which was designed by Italian architects and existed for 400 years, from 1530s and up to 1930s. It was demolished only in the Soviet times because it was not necessary anymore, and they wanted to widen the street. And only a part of the wall has survived, so that is why we have a chance to see it. On the right hand side you can see a beautiful Zarya Park and it represents all the different natural territories of Russia. You can see here the tundra, the taiga, the Russian forest, the Siberian forest, the Kamchatka, so we can imagine that all this is the territory of Russia. On the territory of Zarya Park is located a big concert hall, so I can see that there is going to be the Nutcracker The Nutcracker is probably the most famous New Year and Christmas music here. It was there composed by Peter Tchaikovsky, so it's usually performed on the New Year. And also in the territory of the park, you can see a beautiful flying bridge or pending bridge. It's a bridge which takes you nowhere. It doesn't take you to the other Red Square and the Moscow River. If you have a chance to walk here, I would definitely recommend you to do it because it's a beautiful place. And I walk here, all seated in one of the restaurants.
Flying bridge.
Zaryaty Park. So now, ladies and gentlemen, we arrived to Red. We go together to Red Square. I'm going to tell you the history of St. Basil's Cathedral, the history of some of the towers of the Kremlin, and we walk together as a group, хорошо сопровождающих этими последними, and so we are going to spend 45 minutes in Red Square. You will take your pictures, and after that we return to the bus. The bus will be waiting for us on the bus stop. Usually, so let's say 12:15. Let's agree that we meet the bus at 1 o'clock. Okay? The bus will be standing on the same place. It's not moving. There may be several buses. Okay? Yes, I can see that there are already a lot of buses. The number of our buses is 969. The buses will be coming and going. This is the place where we are parking.
This place gets the tunnel under the ground.
I had shots. Possibly.
Yeah, I've been there. Yes, very difficult, but I entered. I went for a program last year. Very difficult place to enter. Fortress, the wall of the Kremlin. This is GUM. This building is very old. I came here with a Russian friend. GUM. It's one of their shopping mall those days. More than this building is more than 200 years. And it's still beautiful. Those days.
They maintain their, see, you can maintain
walking along the streets of the Kremlin. Now, this is GUM.
Is 850 meters from St. Basil's Cathedral and up to the Safety Historic Museum. Like that, and in front of you, these are the walls of the Kremlin. The Kremlin is an ancient residence of the Russian Tsars, and you can see the tower, which is the Starsky Tower, the Soviet Tower, which was designed by the famous Italian architect whose name was Antonio Solari.
Getting ready for Christmas.
The height of the tower is 8 inside. The star so that the engineers may come inside and fix it. The red ruby glass stars are shining day and night. They're pretty and so high taller towers on the level are decorated with the red ruby glass stars.
Do you miss me? Do you love me? You don't miss me, you still love me. Do you miss me? Do you love me? You don't miss me, you still love me. Do you miss me? Do you love me? You don't miss me, you still love me. Do you love me? Do you love me? You don't miss me, you still love me.
Even the more I die for the end. Are you a girl or a girl is my friend? I can't get with your girl smoke. She fuck about you with ocean. When it hits close, the home will hurt your dick. When she catch the pin, so it's worth it. When you put your head on my shoulder, you dash my tank. You on my motor, stuck between a rock hard place in the boulder. Afraid that you get the water, I feel colder. So please don't leave, stay. Show can't be over. Every pedal, pop your clover. Good with the fact that the least exploded. Anything for a second or a mid-loader. I do anything for a second or a mid-loader.
Oh, sorry, man.
You still love me.
Pass through this place.
Ghost Tour looks like a little fairy tale. This is one of the symbols of our city, most beautiful shopping gallery. And originally it was designed as the shopping galleries because there was a market in Red Square. So that is why, in order to take away the market from Red Square, they made several galleries. And these have always been private shops. And it appeared before the revolution. So then the celebrities served everything. Meat, fish, honey, caviar, everything. But after the revolution, it became a state universal store. So that's when they decided to guys decoration. And let's walk in order to see what decoration it has this year.
Oh, I thought it was. So many brands, Italian brands, Tombolini, Mont Blanc, France, French brands, lots of brands here. Let's see them. Rolex, all are still very much active in the Russian Federation. Lots of Sublime, very much active. Lots of brands, you could easily see them, you know. See Sublime, Bosco, Chanel, wristwatch, Prada, Gucci. Lots of young jeans, lots of brands. Buslati, Italian brands. Article, I think this is Risky brand. Christmas tree. It's Christmas. Just very thin. eat. Nice. Huge Christmas tree. That's not Christian Paris, soul of Russia. This is
Things have changed. And the things that I know. Yes, sir. Yeah. I was talking to his man. So maybe tomorrow if you can come and give more. I know I'm going to meeting. I'll let you know. Yeah, sometimes, yeah.
brands. Rinaldi. Lots of brands are still active in the Russian capital. Max and Co. And brands still very much active. Oh, we are leaving. I think there is a second aspect of the store there, but we are going out currently. Church in the new year.
But the big Christmas tree is inside the Cathedral Square. Let's put
Вот, так что с этой стороны я вам Красную площадь не покажу. Давайте мы сейчас немножечко еще пройдем. Да.
Hello, how are you? Yeah, I'm setting up the arena for the Christmas holidays. It's gonna be amazing, honestly. It's gonna be thrilling, it's gonna be entertaining and all that. So I hope to do a video. I hope to make a video of the Kremlin. I hope to come here for ice skating, probably maybe once or twice, make videos, and then show you guys what this trailer these guys are doing looks like. So always stay tuned, okay? They're doing lots of tents here, lots of tents. It's gonna be mad, it's gonna be fun. Honestly, I think it's gonna be crazy come December in the Red Square. It's gonna be interesting, it's gonna be thrilling. So very, very interesting. Setting up the Christmas tree. I wonder how many meters or feet this Christmas tree stands. But I get a feeling that it should be probably 10, 15 meters. Still setting up the arena. Christmas. We're heading back to our bus. I hope you guys enjoyed the view. I hope you guys enjoyed the view. Alright.
Here we can see the residence of the Russian Tsars. There are two palaces, the Passage Chamber and the Grand Kremlin Palace. And also there are three cathedrals, Assumption, so in one of these cathedrals, in the big one, the Annunciation one, the Russian Tsars were crowned. They had their coronations. This is the water tower. Inside it has a well. And the Kremlin is surrounded by Alexander's garden. Alexander was entered Paris in 1814. And after that they laid out a beautiful garden around the Kremlin, which still keeps the name of the emperor. It's a beautiful garden. So it's very beautiful in the spring and the summertime. And right now we're going to see another famous place. In Moscow, which is called the Cathedral of Christ the Savior. This cathedral has a long and interesting history. Because it was built as a commemoration of the victory over Napoleon. Napoleon left the city of Moscow. Vision of the construction of a memorial was taken by Alexander I. And they decided to build the cathedral, the Church of Christ the Savior. The construction of the church lasted 44 years and it was inaugurated in 1887. But the cathedral didn't last for a long time because already in 1931 it was exploded. It was exploded by the Soviet government. And in the Soviet times, in the place of the cathedral, there was a large open-air swimming pool in Moscow. People went to swim here. And only in 1995, the city government took the decision to reconstruct, to rebuild the Cathedral of Christ the Savior. And it took 5 years to rebuild it. And in spring of 2015, it was rebuilt. And what you see now is an exact copy of the original cathedral. The Cathedral of Christ the Savior appears on our right. It is also accompanied by the 4 bell towers. And today this is the largest Orthodox cathedral of the city. It can house up to 10,000 believers. And on the big and important Russian holidays such as Easter and Christmas, many people are coming here, and the major celebration, so soon Christmas is coming in Russia, it is celebrated on the 7th of January, and so that is where it is standing above a ship and greeting the fleet along the Moscow River. Yes, the largest church of Russia, the largest cathedral of Moscow, it is the Cathedral of Christ the Savior on your right now. There is a wooden church, it's a little chapel, and a gigantic Christ the Savior cathedral. It has 2 floors. Right now we are driving by the decorated by the Russian saints. And there is a view of the city. And this is Volkonka Street, got its name after the Princess Volkonsky, and sometimes we call it a Museum Street. On the left-hand side, the Fistaki again Matisse Picasso, all this collection is here. And behind it also on the left there is the Pushkin Museum of Fine Arts. This is a brilliant collection of European art and painting. In this street you could spend a day, because altogether there is a collection of 5 museums. European art. This is Pushkin Museum of Fine Arts, one of the best collections in the world. Ladies and gentlemen, we are going to enter the oldest bridge of the capital. It is called Большой Каменный Мост, the big stony bridge. On your left hand side there is a panorama of the Kremlin. You see that it really has a front. And on the right hand side there will be another beautiful panorama of Moscow River and Christ the Savior Cathedral. Please have a look. So there is Christ the Savior, the Petrarch's bridge.
Oldest bridge.
On the right hand side there appears a very unusual building. It is called the House of the Embankment. Built back to 1930s, it became a self-sufficient and independent house. And people who lived here were all the functionaries of the Moscow Kremlin. So they would get apartments here, and inside this house there was a kindergarten, a cinema and a laundry. So it is still working as just a very unusual and independent house. And right now we're going to cross a canal. It's not a river, but a 4-kilometer long canal, which was built in the 18th century by the order of our Empress Catherine the Great in order to take away extra water from Moscow River. Every spring Moscow River got flooded, and so that is why it was necessary to dig a special engineering canal. So that's what they did, and an island was built. The name of the island was Baltic. We have crossed the river and we have crossed the canal, and we find ourselves already in the neighborhood which is called the Moskvarechye, the area behind the river. This is a very beautiful and picturesque neighborhood where you can walk on your own, visiting the churches, museums. Moscow's most famous picture gallery is located here. It is called Picture Gallery. It is located not far from here on the left hand side behind these houses. World, beginning from the 12th to the 20th century. They have the icons of the 12th, 15th centuries, and then they have the Russian art of their 18th, 19th and the 20th century. The collection numbers about 120,000 items of pictures, and it has 2 buildings. The Classic Collection Museum and the Museum of the 20th Century, which is located behind these buildings on the right. And we have just taken the street which has the name of Yakimanka, the street of 2 saints, Joachim and Anna. On the right hand side, in a few seconds will be named after the Greek god of wedding. So this was the shop for the newlyweds, and now it's like a jewelry center.
a chance to look at Lenin. And there's also a Carmelite church of Archangel Gabriel on the left. It appeared at the beginning of the 19th century. After October Square, there is the beginning of the famous Leninski Prospect, a 16-kilometer long street which takes you from the city center, from October Square, from Yakimanta and the Kremlin, to the border of Moscow. On the left-hand side, there is the institute, the University of the Studies of Civilization. And on the right, there is the Institute of the Studies of Steel and Alloys. Also in this street there is located Gubkin University of Oil and Gas, because oil and gas industry is the predominant industry in Russia. And on the right hand side there is located the famous Golitsynskaya Hospital. The family of the Golitsyn was one of the richest Russian families, and all this territory on the right belonged to that family. There were several houses, and they possessed all the land from here, from Kalushka Street down to the Moscow River. After the revolution, their estate was nationalized, and it was given to the first Moscow hospital, which was called Pervogradskaya, the first city hospital, which still exists. So it is one of the largest Moscow hospitals of the kidney diseases, liver diseases, stomach diseases, so the nervous diseases, different kinds. So they're all located on the right. So people are still taken here. A huge territory of the hospital, and it goes also down to the river. There is also one of the main buildings with the dome. It's a church, and also the administrative building of the hospital. And on the right, this is the beginning of Niskushny Garden, the amusement garden, which also belonged to the family of the Golitsyn. And on the right-hand side, there is the Pirogov Hospital. Pirogov was a famous Russian doctor. On the right-hand side, the entrance to the Russian Academy of Sciences. The ancient building of the academy is located here. And we are back to Leninsky Prospect. I have already told you about the buildings here, and you can enjoy the view of these houses that belong to 1950s and 60s. So here it is on the left-hand side. The height of the monument is 32 meters.
We are still along the Leninski Prospect. Leninski Avenue. After Lenin. Now Nelson, they tell me,
Now this, they get one big hospital right there.
what happened to you? I not get your number. What did they happen? I not get that my number. That my WhatsApp number. Now major. Now you say you do major operation. excursion. Guys, I hope you enjoyed the trip.
Gentlemen.
I hope you enjoyed the work with me. I'm really glad for the attention. For those who made it to the end, I'm very grateful. I'm gonna out to my guys. So, cheers. Thank you for watching. Please do like and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Stay safe. Cheers, mates.